I want a sandwich. Now. Oh, sandwich wench. Yo, wench. Sandwich. Now. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. Sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. Oh, sandwich wench. I want a sandwich. Sandwich.
Hello everyone, welcome to another political recap stream here on the Moist Live channel. Joining me to talk about some things, mostly right-wing because we're paranoid, is Trups. Say hello, Trups.
Can opening noise.
Oh, hang on, I got a bottle I could do. I've got you, bro. I have a can.
Okay.
I could do the canister if you want.
Whichever. Surprise me.
Oh. Thank you,
Very
tell
nice.
them all. I do actually have a can of stout behind me, but I didn't really want to drink it.
Oh, okay.
I'll save that for another day. How is Trups?
Well, we just had,
I forgot to change the scene again.
birthday. Oh, nice. Good.
I just remembered 2 minutes in to change the fucking scene. We're on the set now, folks.
We had America Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, Murder Turkey Day. Yeah.
Hey, look, I don't know if you've seen,
judging.
but some of those things are assholes.
Not judging. It's actually what Phoebe Buffet says in Friends, and I fully endorse it because that's what I eat on Christmas Day. In this week,
Turkey's good.
In this week, it's very good protein as well. We do a turkey crown, so it's already got loads of stuffing inside. It's amazing. But Peter, the Animal Welfare Group UK, we're tweeting about turkeys. Don't want to be eaten. Don't want to be eaten. Don't want to be eaten. That's what it said. They wrote it like 6 times. And then someone replies without cranberries, potatoes, and all these things. And then they reply Christmas. But hang on, you're doing this just before Thanksgiving. You're baiting, you bastards. Don't. You're just hiding behind the Peter UK Twitter to try and justify your little bait. Doesn't work, bitch. How was Thanksgiving for you, by the way?
So the wife and I weren't able to travel because she's currently working. So
Just the two of you?
yes, 2 of us, and
alright.
honestly, not a bad thing.
No, that's fantastic. You two get to enjoy your first Thanksgiving as a married couple.
Yes, actually, very true.
And I think that's kind of... I think that's good because from what I've heard of Thanksgiving, it's usually filled with arguments. I've often found, from what I've been told, the less people, the less chance of these arguments.
That's a very good point.
And I unless you live for them, like you on Twitter, I find that it's easier. I'm not wrong. I've seen your Twitter. I saw you got ratio to fuck.
What do you mean?
I was paying full attention. I saw you put one tweet out, you got 3 likes and 42 replies because no one can be bothered to go and look at the fucking video to get the context.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I saw that. I fucking saw that. That cracked me
We'll talk
right
about
up.
it later.
Yeah, later. But yeah, I mean, as a Brit, I would love to experience your Thanksgiving. I think it'd be great to just eat some banging food and not feel any regret for it. But
Honestly, the whole day is essentially so there's a couple schools of thought with it, right? There's the early morning in which the people who will be preparing the food basically clean the whole kitchen, prepare everything out of the way, clear every table,
It's the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and perform.
Yes. So it's usually 2 or 3 people who are in the kitchen pretty much from like post cleaning to it's usually start around, it depends. If you're actually cooking the turkey in like a slow roast kind of way, then it can start at like 8 o'clock in the morning,
So
9 o'clock in the morning.
we do something similar here on Christmas Day, except we do the cleaning on Christmas Eve. And my nieces and nephews are given explicit instructions: don't fuck the house up, or I will.
Get the hell out of the kitchen.
Or Uncle will fuck up your presents. And Uncle has had to once.
Uncle knows Santa. Santa is on speed dial.
Uncle knows Santa because Uncle bought Santa. Okay, Uncle will stand on your present in front of you, and I've been asked to do it at least once, and I have.
No.
The thing is, there is no. If I'm told to do something like this, there is no chill. It's like I've got shit to do. I'm going to do it now, and I'm going to go back to work.
True.
I don't have time. Not at this time of year, anyway. But did you enjoy with your wife? Did you enjoy your Thanksgiving meal, whatever it was?
Yes, actually. Turns out, actually, it's a lot easier to shop for stuff when it's just two of you.
I wouldn't have believed it, says the guy who just has to on Christmas Eve go and pick up a hamper that'll be no doubt the size of his own body mass, and then carry it back about 10 miles.
Yeah, for us it was like, oh, okay, cool. We grab some meat for a brisket.
Brisket,
some mashed potatoes going on, and that was our thing. Oh, and the wife made deviled eggs. Those were great.
So when my friend Skog.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when he got married to an American, she made some deviled eggs, and I never tried them. I looked at them because I was at that point. I was just starting a health thing.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at them and thought, "There's a mistake there," and I'd rather not in how it's prepared, but in if I start eating those, I'm not going to stop eating them.
Ah, yes, exactly that.
I like being at my current build, so I'd rather not. I saved myself for Christmas. Let's go with that.
Yeah, and honestly, not necessarily a bad idea.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll have them. But I'm glad you two had a good time. We've been we haven't obviously been here for a couple of weeks. What else have you been up to?
Not too much else, honestly. Because of that, I'm not working. I took off on Wednesday, so there's been a lot of hanging around the house.
There's nothing wrong with that. Play some video games, buddy. Chill out.
Yes, I have been.
Good man. I completed Little Nightmares on my Switch. I was very happy with myself. Got an OLED, which I've been playing on. I got, thanks to you, obviously, a new person on my server they joined on Twitch. During a Twitch stream on Thursday, they sent me for Pokemon Violet, Mew, Blue. And I was like, and they gave me a Darkrai, Hooper, and a Jirachi. And I was like, you can join my server now. I was like, they're all level. The Mew was level 100, and I walked into a Marill, and you know what Mew did? Went to fucking sleep because I'm not strong enough to actually wield this Mew. Decided to take a nap.
Oh
I was
no!
like, you ball bag.
Oh no!
It was worth it though. I've never had a Mew before, so I was very very happy.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Have you obviously in your country? So we over here adopted your Black Friday sales, right?
Yes, true.
I have taken advantage of this a little bit. Have you?
Yes, I have. Actually, I was just finishing up doing my wish list. My family, ever since money became tighter, we've been doing like an Elfster thing. Elfster's a website where basically you can randomize a Secret Santa.
I know what that is.
Put up a wish list.
I've heard of Elfster. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Well, we do that for our family now. It's a better way instead of being like, "All right, what do you want for Christmas? Oh, I don't know. Whatever you want," and then that nobody has like 2 or 3 presents from one person. Everyone is responsible for that other person.
I get that. I finished my Christmas shopping mercifully. I did all mine in high streets, in the high street of my town, because I wanted. I independent business only though. There was a point to that. I wanted to be very emphatic. I did buy one present that I needed for one more person during the week, and the website Master of Malt were doing these things. They give you little, you can get prizes for buying bottles, like little samples of things. And me and Dave, when he was here, we did a few practices. I ended up getting a bottle for free, and I was like, "Yes, I'll have that." It's got a plague doctor on the front of it. It looks awesome.
Oh, cool!
It's called the Deacon. It's slightly peated. It's sat on the shelf. The bottle's looks like it's made of copper. But I also have bought, and it's on my Discord server in the Galley, the food channel. It is a kilo of the best chocolate this country has in a box shaped like a Christmas wreath.
Ooh.
Fucking heavy. I can't.
So you and I have very different chocolates.
Well, I would rather have. I would have rather spent the similar amount on other chocolate. I actually have other chocolate, but this is for the family to share on Christmas Eve. I bought it as a treat. Christmas Eve, I'm going to make steak sandwiches, onions, mushrooms, cheese. I'm going to go nuts on it, baguettes. And me and Dave are going to do that. And then we're going to have this ridiculous box of chocolate.
Nice. I like that.
And then we're going to get shit-faced.
Nice. Well,
I say me and Dave.
as is typical.
For me, it is pretty much yes. On Christmas Eve, it's a given, really.
Well, I wasn't going to assume.
Just assume I'm going to send you nudes. It's a guarantee, really.
Oh no!
I want you to see my.
Look, I'm just going to get pictures of underwater cameras.
Yeah.
In awkward positions.
I sent someone a gif of a turkey because I went a DM on Discord and it looked like an uncooked turkey body twerking and flapping about. And I was like, that is nightmare fuel.
I hate that.
Oh, it was something. Yeah. Did you go laughing last weekend, by the way?
I did. It was the last event of the year.
But you're happy that without this shitty lockdown stuff.
Well, more or less, I'm just happy that like it's done for a bit, which means that like I can focus on other things.
Yeah, I get you. But at the same time, at least you got to be able to do that this year.
True. Very true. Very true. It's just sometimes it becomes a bit of a not a hassle, but there's just other things that go on, and every other like month or like every month, every third week of every month, then yeah, I'm in the middle of something, I gotta run away. Bye. But yes, it was my final event of the year. I don't go back until March, which is fine because the amount of holidays that are going to interfere with our streams are going to be plentiful.
Yes, that's going to be something. Although you know, there aren't. I mean, I'm around anyway. My main issue, obviously, is that, as many will know, starting next Friday, December 1st, until essentially the 31st, I've made one video every day, and I've done this up to and including the 25th. There'll be 2 videos every day for the month, though.
Oh, Jesus.
Because I go ham on December, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Or 25 videos already uploaded. And I would point out, 3 more are going to be made this weekend, and they're going to be an absolute cunt to finish.
Well,
but they will be done. They have to be done.
Well, I will not delay any further. Let us.
Yeah. I noticed
begin.
the chat. Yes. Hi, chat. Hi, Michael, Leona, Shadowband. I saw you wrote. Hello, Orla. Hope you're all well today. Going for whiskey. Wait, Leona goes for whiskey.
Weird.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. I've seen. She sent me a video of her necking a whiskey.
That sounds inappropriate. I know it's not, but it sounds like it is.
She didn't open her mouth very much. I didn't know how she got it in there. I was very confused.
Haha. Anyway, so where should we start? We did mention a couple things that we could talk about.
Yeah. Okay. So, as many of you will know, there's been a few things going on over my side. We have, for example, the Dutch Trump, as he's been touted, a man that's banned in the United Kingdom, who has just been elected leader of the Netherlands. He has very strong views on things like Islam. You've got the Argentinian Trump, apparently. You've got Dublin and the stabbing of a child, because that's turning into hell. Like a 5-year-old girl and a woman. It was a man had attacked a group of children, I believe, and I didn't pay enough attention to this, but this has led to some very angry Irish people taking a very firm stance on you need to protect the Irish people, and the Taoiseach, the Overradka, has basically come out and basically regurgitated the diversity is our strength rhetoric. and also those who are rioting don't represent the voices of the Irish people. Well, apparently they do, and Sinn Féin is growing in popularity. So perhaps curb your horse shit. Yeah.
So the situation with the event with the girl and stuff seems to have really somebody was making a comment, and I'll call it crass because I feel like they lack the understanding of what else goes on. But they had basically said that it almost seemed like too much of a response to something that they kind of saw as yeah, it's bad, but like kind of shocking that they would have so much protest. And I think what that person neglects to understand is the concept of the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's not like this is new on its face, right?
No, it isn't. And the most interesting thing right now is in Europe, there have been a number of elections in a number of nations. In each one, you have seen an increase in more right-leaning populist voters. That's what you're seeing. So to see Leo Varadkar, for example, in Ireland say that these people don't represent the Irish people and the Irish values is a lot of bollocks. Because you're seeing this across Europe. You're seeing it in many nations. In fact, you saw it in Argentina as well.
Yep.
You're seeing it everywhere because people are getting sick of this horse shit. And there are some policies I don't take objection to. There are something I'm not against. For example, I'm not against immigration. That's fine. You can be totally in favour of it, but it's how you're in favour of it that matters. I watched Nigel Farage. He's gone into I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of
this video.
Right? The one with the YouTuber who I'd never heard of. Right.
Yes, and the girl who was shocked that he didn't understand a word he was saying.
Yeah, I have no idea who any of them are really, beyond. And there's a bit. He said to somebody he's not against immigration, he just wants to control the number of people coming in. And then she replies, but I'm an immigrant. And I'm like, bitch, you're not. You're born in UK. You're British. Don't try me with this semantics horseshit of your heritage. Because you'll find there aren't many people in the United Kingdom who can say with absolute certainty they are majority English. It's a lot of horseshit. It's a myth. There's no such thing as that anymore. Okay.
Well, it was even harder to believe that she was an immigrant because she was speaking with a British accent.
Chavvy one of that, yes.
Which means that she's been in the country long enough for her natural speaking patterns to adapt to the country.
The issue was, it's the level of ignorance on a generation, perhaps, and those who operate online, is that she saw and said it to him that a lot of what she takes in, she sees online. She goes look at the confirmation bias. She doesn't actually look into something. And I think that's the problem. The lack of critical thought is vital. And you see this as well with a number of politicians who have their own farts too long. They can't consider that the landscape changes. If we can agree that throughout a person's life, your opinions change. You can be considered different people at different stages of your life. Yeah?
Oh,
the same applies to a nation. It really does. You can still hold on to your core values, but I'll be honest, I've seen an increase in number of videos in Ireland of people who have come to Ireland from other places around the world who have then been caught doing things to children and have then summarily been beaten up by the people because no one's doing anything about it. And I don't obviously support the violence, of course not. I would rather that person be arrested and charged. I'd rather that person be in prison, and if given the opportunity to rehabilitate them so they don't do it again, and then yeet them out because they had their chance to be a part of your country and they chose to do something different. And this incident, this harming of a child, is going to stoke more problems. People, I can't imagine there are many countries where a child will be harmed by someone and they're just going to go, water under a bridge. And then I remember there was a kid in your country attacked by 17 youths, and that went down like a lump of milk in there, didn't it? Because there wasn't much coverage of that.
I don't know okay, so based on the video, so the problem with that whole thing was based on like the initial video, they said it was 15, but you couldn't see 15 in the video.
No, you couldn't. I think it was 15, I believe it was 15 total, but I also don't remember.
Not saying that the story itself was wrong, but it was hard to follow from an outsider's perspective because how much of what is told to me is completely 100% accurate.
Yeah.
I now have to do the job to parse that because I cannot trust that somebody is not, taking me for a ride.
This is the state that you're in, though, and this is where I take umbrage with a number of people who, for example, criticize the media outlets I will use in my sources. The thing is, I typically try and link from they're dickheads. I try and link from different sources if I can, but in the context of this, people were falsely equating Bin Laden's letter to America with Israel and Hamas. Like, bitch, you can't compare the two. Oh, but if I do this, I can lump it together. And then, interestingly, this ties into a point that I saw from Brianna Wu, who had pointed out that there is a problem. No. There is a problem with progressivism where they desperately need to link things together. I'll actually go and get the tweet for this to make sense. Because you will agree to an extent with Brianna Wu. Okay? All right.
Okay.
I've got the tweet. So, Greta, I'll read one tweet first to make sense. Greta Thunberg used to say her goal was to protect the planet from climate change, but she now admits it's to overthrow the whole capitalist system, which she says is responsible for imperialism, oppression, genocide, racist, oppressive extractionism. That's someone else. Brianna Wu had retweeted Upstream Podcast by saying, I don't mean to disrespect her, but I've grown to believe this is a fundamental flaw in progressivism. We have a tendency to roll a bunch of related causes together in a way that makes them culture war issues rather than serious policy proposals. Democracy means coalitions. This is a fundamental flaw in progressivism. It 100% is. It's that desperate need to lump things together. And I just don't pigeonhole. I fucking hate it.
Well, it's not even pigeonholing. It is the entire mantra of the system, because the whole idea is that everything is connected. It's all institutionalized. Nothing happens in a vacuum for progressivism, right? Like if a statistic leans one way and it shows that a group of people is more likely to do X, then that is the cause of some other facet that has an institutional or otherwise like ingrained like state in our society. Like there is nothing that happens in a vacuum, nor will they ever accept that anything could happen in a vacuum. It always has to be related to something. That is like the very nature of progressivism and postmodernism.
Yeah, I'd say that this particular version of progressivism, because there are you can't really. The idea of progressivism as a name is fine, really. It's just how people act on its name or with it as its banner. Because society is supposed to progress, is it not?
Yes. The problem is that most of and this is where the joke comes in.
Yeah.
Most of their policies end up actually being regressive, in function or in form, rather.
Well, it comes from a lot of ignorance on their part, too reactive to respond to realize the consequence or to consider the longer game. Like economics, for example. A lot of people instantly act to think they're doing the better thing, then to realize a few years later, oh shit, if I'd taken my time.
Oh, true. Very true. It's one of those things that you look at in terms of actually even the Twitter argument that I had actually. This ties in rather nicely.
Yes,
so the whole thing was me responding to somebody who had basically said that you know what? Let me just pull the damn thing up because I need to specifically like speak out all of this because it is crucially important to the whole issue as to why people oh, that's right, I got banned, or I got blocked by the guy who originally did it. Hold on, incognito.
Do you want me to? I was about to say I'll go and get it. You know.
Okay, so the guy writes, I remember when a bunch of skin-headed Nazi chuckle dicks marched on Charlottesville, VA, screaming about Jews replacing them. And then Donald Trump saying that they were some very fine people. Now he is talking about exterminating vermin on live TV. Wake the fuck up, everybody. Okay. My response was, why is it that they lie about the very fine people hoax so often? And in the chat, a lot of people took that to mean that Donald Trump never called those people or never said that there were very fine people on both sides. Here's the problem. When trying to explain that the contextual wording of the very fine people hoax means when Donald Trump said there are very fine people on both sides, but I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis or white supremacists because they should be condemned totally. The hoax part is the fact that they don't mention that he said the rest of it.
Yeah, it's called quote mining, cherry picking. It's bloody typical, isn't it?
It is quite typical. The problem exists because that was what everyone heard, and no one heard anything else for a long time.
To be honest, it was like the January 6th thing. People said he egged it on, and then actually, if you bother to watch the videos, which I believe are on his Twitter account now, it's restored, he quite clearly stated, "No, go home."
Yes,
go home. He did.
Yes,
not
they are.
It.
They are in fact trying to litigate this now in a court case. So that's always fun, even though they technically already litigated it in the Senate. But whatever.
What's the point of litigating it other than just to make their own little historical revisionism and say, "Oh, well, he didn't actually say that."
Oh, it's in order to drain his money so that he didn't have funds to campaign.
Lol. Guy's got what, 10 bill? It's not happening.
Depends on who you ask. If you ask the New York judge, then no.
The New York judge knows fuck all about what he has. And we know
True.
We actually know this as well.
Actually, it's really funny. They have been there have been some legal scholars that I think have started to pick up on the things that I was explaining. I think 3 or so weeks ago,
really?
Where I have a thought or an opinion that Donald Trump is playing the judge so that he will do something that would be like improper for a judge, like say something or rule in such a way, because we already know that he hates Trump.
Oh yeah,
and I think that part of Trump's plan is to bait him into doing something stupid, thus creating a mistrial.
I'll be honest, the sooner this Mickey Mouse crap is over, the better. Because I just want to see an election. I want to see the pantomime. Ours is coming up, and I can't be asked because it's just British. Who cares? But
there are some people who do not believe that we will actually have an election. Or rather, I mean, we'll go through the motions.
I mean, I have seen your president on a number of occasions when he's meant to be doing important stuff. Your president's just literally gotten up and run off.
Yes. I also love it when they don't know if he's ended his speech or not. So there's just this pregnant silence at the end of him speaking, and then suddenly music plays and plays him off.
He has quite a way with, I would say words, but not a lot of it.
No.
It seems a bit. It's when he says, obviously she was wearing cat. I think she was wearing catis. I like your ears. He explicitly picks up on a child, and people run with that as if it's creepy or something. It is a bit odd. I'll give you that. Or what's that woman's name? Is it Nikki Haley? Is that her name?
Yes.
She asked a girl about a hat, and the girl's response was, "You gave it to me." I thought that was creepy.
I mean,
it's like you're wearing a really cool hat. Thanks, you gave it to me.
See, my first thought would have been, "And you're welcome."
Yeah, that would have worked actually.
Right. At least it doesn't look like you just forgot. It's more like,
Yeah.
hey, where'd you get that hat? Oh, that's right. I gave it to you.
So-
It's almost like a dad joke, like world's best dad. Like, oh, who gave you
Yeah.
that present? Me, this guy.
So we're seeing a shift at present in Europe, and there are more right-leaning voices, and this is leading to a shift politically to a more right-leaning populist movement across Europe.
Mhm.
I don't know about the UK because we're not really we're Europe, but we're part of Europe, but we're not part of the EU, and EU is most of Europe anyway. Now that we're seeing this, what do you think leaders of more left-leaning governments are going to do to address it? What do you think they should do?
Okay, well, what they should do is let the pendulum swing, and don't freak out if you lose power now. It's okay. The pendulum keeps swinging. The worst thing that they could do is, seeing that their power is potentially leaving them, they do something stupid that encourages people to get a little bit more feisty. That is the worst thing that they could possibly do, and they need to avoid it at all costs. Which requires a bit of, I want to say maturity, but it really is, don't be an idiot.
I think you do need to accept your party's going to ebb and flow, rise and plateau.
Yeah.
Fall. I think France not so long ago had an election. It was close. Macron has been acting as if he was just truly victorious. He bloody well wasn't. He was lucky to win. You having changes up in. We've had changes in Argentina, which we'll get to soon as well. We've had changes with now Netherlands. I'm intrigued to see whether or not we're going to revoke that ban on Wilder. I can't be asked to know how to pronounce his first because he's interesting enough, and he's part of a very important movement in his country. I think these voices need to be heard, and it's going to cause things in EU, for example, to have to change, aren't they? And you had it in Poland. Didn't Poland have election? But I think, the Polish election. Let me go. They had a. Let me find out.
Yeah, I think they also had an interesting fella.
The opposition secured the win, but I think that's Donald Tusk. Donald Tusk. Donald Tusk. He won the parliamentary election. Donald Tusk worked for the EU when we were trying to leave the EU. He was part of the team. He was part of the negotiation team against us. So he's part of a very different. So, for example, Poland has been ruled by what has been called an illiberal government.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
The Conservative ruling Law and Justice Party won more votes than any other single party, but lost its majority because of a coalition formed by Tusk, who is a former Polish Prime Minister anyway. He's basically just become it again. He's now waiting for the president to appoint the new Prime Minister and then form a government. They have very different systems. Their president sits removed from everything, like one above the table, which is quite interesting. And Poland's turnout was really high this time. It was like 75, 80%. Really high. But what really screwed up Poland was that the Law and Justice Party took control of the courts that actually violated the country's constitution. It politicized state institutions, including public media, which was then used to, it is believed to have used to have then created propaganda to praise itself and vilify opponents, which is also unconstitutional. Tusk, European Council President, that's what he was. Yes, he was a dickhead. No, he's
But this is part of the thing that I was mentioning earlier. Like, okay, if the pendulum swings, don't fucking touch it. Okay?
Yeah, let it happen.
Don't freak out. Just let it go. It's okay. It'll come back. But the worst thing that you can do is, as you described, some of these folks may have done, which is basically try to abuse their position in order to obtain some sort of like opportunity.
Yeah.
Or
in the case of Poland, I'm fascinated by it because they could have kept that party, Law and Justice, could have stayed in longer. They could have, had they not started to try to turn their nation into more dictatorship. But and they were trying to control the pendulum. The thing, though, is Poland. I mean, don't forget here. Just because Tusk has got a majority doesn't mean he, not majority, a coalition, does not mean he represents the majority of the voters. He represents a majority of different parties of voters, whereas the Conservatives still hold that majority in number in like a general population of voting. If this coalition doesn't work, they'll be back in office in 4 years. And Tusk is an ardent European. He is very much about the EU. If he tries to push that, that will cost him. Whereas if he pushes to, first of all, let's say not use propaganda from state-controlled media and the taking control of the law and justice, which is a bit, I know, ironic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what a terrible name for the thing that you're trying to take control of, totally legally.
Yeah,
by the way.
Yeah, that's pretty shit. I think unless if he gives those back and he doesn't push for further integration with the EU, he'll be fine. He'll be able to secure a slightly bigger majority, maybe a minority government without a coalition. But if he goes down the path of further integration, then he'll push the Conservatives back again. Don't forget, that doesn't mean, by the way, that that Poland is going more liberal or more progressive, for that matter. Because again, voter turnout for the individual party, Conservatives had a massive win on that part. They really did. They just didn't have the coalition or enough numbers to form. But then, like Germany, Poland have a similar issue of many different cultural beliefs on politics, and Germany often has a lot of coalitions to prop up a government or a face of it. Not that anyone can name the current chancellor, because no one gives a fuck. The only one anyone cares about is Angela Toadface Merkel, who is no longer obviously in charge. It's just one of those things where you don't know the face as much as you could know the face. And I'm intrigued to see how. And I think also in Germany that had happened. There was a rise in right-leaning voters at the last election. So Germany's got a far-right party that now polls higher than the three parties in government. The far-right AfD party is under domestic surveillance for the threat it poses to the country's democracy. Well, that's that's a problem with Germany anyway. I don't know anything about the AfD party, so they might be a bad party. But generally, people who are more right-leaning in Germany, of all countries, are considered haram.
True. They want to desperately avoid any right-leaning anything.
There's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of guilt there, and I get it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. They did partially start 2 world wars. I say partially because it wasn't just them. There were other people involved too. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say that they're wrong for feeling like they may have had a part in this.
Yeah.
Now, what's kind of odd or interesting, I guess you could say, is the evidence of our pendulum swing. The best one, in my personal opinion, is the Argentinian one.
Oh, man.
Because the Argentinian one is
this one's my favorite.
Kind of speaking like.
It's like Trump. It's just like the guy is clearly not a politician, but there he is.
Well, I was gonna say it's not that he's not a politician or anything. It's that he is speaking in the way that the normal person would want to say, but is a bit afraid to.
So there was a assistant, an aide or something. Someone knew him from his youth, and said that he was always like that, even when he played football, I believe. But he quit and took up speaking in politics because he had this eccentric, over-the-top, aggressive mannerisms, and he'd always been like that from a young age. And I'm just sat back like, we need more people like that, because fucking hell, shit. Just come on, give me something. I'm sick of the boring UK shit.
I love that when presented with the problems of his country.
Yeah.
When asked on his state's media, why do you say these things? His answer was, because they're shit. And it was glorious.
It's my favorite thing in the whole world.
Honestly, though, it's amazing. I cannot tell you how much I love that whole fucking thing.
I'm going to quickly address Michael. He wants the Falklands. He can't have it. The people of the Falklands voted time and time again to remain a part of the United Kingdom as part of a crown dependency. If they even try, we will blow them back to the Stone Age. Simple as that.
Don't get blown.
We won't even give you the happy ending that comes with it.
Yeah, that's what I've learned, is don't get blown.
But we'll send you a complimentary box of tea. We dredged it up from the Boston Harbor.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you come get it?
Yeah, we don't waste good tea. We will always get our tea.
That's why the Boston Harbor smells like that.
We cleaned it for you. We're very good like that.
No, but I absolutely fucking love this guy. Basically saying that if you give left, and he specifically says leftist.
He mentioned socialism and all that as well, didn't he?
Yes, he does, and also calls them communists.
Yeah, well, to be fair, find an example of it where it doesn't devolve into it.
Well, honestly, for Argentina, that may be more correct than we think.
Sounds like Venezuela as well.
Well, right, because if you look at the history of at least Hispanic countries, yes, communism and fascism are the two sides of this pendulum, which they often swing back and forth in. Looking at Argentina,
it makes it seem like Hispanic people are genetically sneaky and conniving. Like,
I was gonna say, I was thinking more along the lines of Hispanic people are always extreme, one way or the other.
That sounds like Gen Z, to be fair.
We could do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was intrigued by this guy because he'd spoken about how disappointed he was in his country that you could be so much, but your GDP is ranked 140 in the world. And my first thought was, but you could be so much more. You really could. But as is the case with a lot of South American countries, you are held back by massive amounts of corruption and a lack of infrastructure to be able to push forward. The previous ruler of Argentina did a reasonable job for a while, but they fucked. They just completely fell apart. I have no idea. I didn't even realize that they cut. Wasn't it? It was a lady, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yes.
She was doing all right for a while, from what I'd heard, but I think
maybe.
But it just, I don't know. It completely. I don't know. I got very confused.
Argentina has been going through a bit of a, like, I don't know how to describe their situation, like a identity crisis. They don't necessarily know exactly how they want to represent themselves.
Yeah.
Because like one of the examples that I know of at least is you remember Latinx, right?
Oh, by the way, it wasn't a female leader. No, his VP is female though. I've heard of her, I believe. Victoria Villarreal.
Sure, why not?
I've heard
but the Latinx thing, right?
Yeah,
that's the Americanized version.
I hate
the and the Hispanics have a version too, which may come as a surprise. But Argentina was one of the countries that led the charge in creating a more correct, like linguistically, to have that word, or at least the gender non-specific version of it, and that was Latine, so with an E, right?
Yeah. Is that one with the accent on it?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of that, I think.
That one, I mean, it technically counts as like an acceptable version, but not really, because it's still compelling language in a way that inherently makes it not function the way it's supposed to. Like, if you have a gendered language, you have a gendered language, just leave it alone. But Argentina tried really hard to push the Latine thing, and they were some of the leaders of that in at least South America, right? So if you imagine that that is at least something that I can observe from an outsider's perspective, what must be going on inside to further, piss them off? I can only hope that somebody tells me what's going on.
Yeah.
Because other than that, I don't really have much else to go on. But at least from the outset, I can say, yeah, they've got some progressive things going on, and it seems like people may not be so thrilled about it. I personally love the fact that our friends in the South have basically said, nah, fuck you, man. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and you can shove it up your ass. Because that's essentially what our new president of Argentina basically says. He's aggressive, and I love it.
Well, you've had that in your politics. We've not had that here because our system's too old-fashioned. I do think that every so often you need a spanner. You need someone that goes in there and just introduces a curveball. And whether this guy will accomplish anything when he is sworn in as president, I have no idea. He supposedly represents a libertarian party, and that's intriguing to me. Because I thought he was conservative based on how he was behaving. I didn't know.
He believes in freedoms and government to get the fuck out of the way.
And when he started tearing down all the department signs, that's when I realized, okay, he's not
that. I love it. It's so much fun. No, I think and feel free to challenge me on this, but I feel like with the system that the UK uses to select their respective leaders, you almost always are going to end in almost I don't want to say a fuddy-duddy, but that's my thought. Like, you're always going to land in somebody who doesn't have really strong convictions, because you have the option to choose, like, the big guy, right? You could choose, like, the guy who's got a lot of opinions, who's really, like, outspoken, but that's not going to win over the hearts and minds of everyone. So it might be somebody's second choice.
Yeah.
But if everyone gets their second choice, then you don't get a person who really has an opinion one way or the other. You have a perpetual middle ground candidate. And in times where you need something stronger, I feel like you may not get that in your current system, or at least the way that your society is currently behaving. You may not get it for some time, at least not until some groundbreaking event. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I understand that completely.
Do you think it's accurate?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. I was worried. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I understand how this pick'em system works for you guys.
Takes a minute, yeah. So, do you think that this, because we don't really know much, we don't talk about Netherlands, we don't talk about any other country outside mine and yours, really. And maybe sometimes Canada because they're funny. Do you think these guys will accomplish anything? And I'll preface it with the following. Wilder is already having an issue. He needs to form a coalition of sorts. He just doesn't need much of one, but he needs a coalition to have a strong enough. But the leader, I've got it here, the leader of the right-leaning liberal VVD party said she would not, I'm not even going to bother to pronounce her fucking name, honestly, a coalition with Wilder. But the outgoing Justice Minister said she could support a centre-right cabinet from outside whether or not, without clarifying whether Wilder's anti-Islam Freedom Party could be defined as centre-right. But that's subjective.
I think. Sorry, go on. Finish your thought first.
It's not that. It's there are other ways he could secure this apparently with other parties, but it would reduce his power. And there's a problem here, a belief that his presence at the top, without suitable stability from other parties, could harm their business community, scale from investors. For example, 34% of the GDP comes from doing business abroad. Canal boats, no doubt.
So, I guess I would have to I think they're going to be a canary in the coal mine, is really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I think they are like the groundbreakers of a trend that we're going to see elsewhere.
Yeah.
We've seen for a long time that the UK and the US, our politics track very closely.
They do.
At least you guys have a more muted version of what we have.
Yeah.
So like our nationalism will exist, but ours is represented in a much different way than yours is, which is not a problem. It's just different, right?
Yeah.
Now, but what actually comes of situations where you have such vastly different expressions of political advocacy is you'll have people like ours who may get a little spicy, and then you will have a gas release that is explosive but minimal. Like it'll be contained to one place, and I say this as like the common working man, when they get upset, it is usually to one place. If you are part of an advocacy group that is specialized in going everywhere and causing mayhem, well, then that might be an extensive amount of destruction. For you guys, and France is a great example of what happens if you leave the pressure valve on too long. You guys will start setting fires to everything if the push comes to shove really, really hard. Because you only can push the Europeans a certain direction for so long and keep pissing them off until they get upset with you. And I personally like the depiction in V for Vendetta, in which it went from everybody is just sitting by doing nothing to, nah, fuck you, everyone's getting up now. I'm sick and tired of this shit. Are you sick and tired of it? Everyone's sick and tired of it. Let's all go do a thing. And then it's over.
Yeah.
So yours is a countrywide thing. I think this may also play a part in how large our country is by comparison.
Yeah, yours, like you have to base ours on like states individually, really.
Right. It would be like, yeah, sure. If you had like the southern states having an issue, historically that's not bad. That's not a bad analogy. Yeah, like that would be a whole group of folks getting together to do a thing. But I mean, I guess I would have to ask you. Do you feel as if the temperature is rising to a point in the UK where, not saying overthrowing the government or anything? I'm not on that train right now. What I mean is to make such a radical change in your government along the lines of Argentina.
I would love to see that happen, if only for 5 years. Problem we have is our political landscape would never allow for a person like that to exist. Don't forget here, to get rid of Nigel Farage, we have Brexit. And he did exactly what he said he'd do. He He didn't bother getting involved in politics much afterwards. He really didn't. He didn't have to. And so we don't have. I would love to see it because it'd be hilarious, but it would be unlikely to happen in our country. Because the way our governments work is, while they love freedom of the press, they love to poison the well at every opportunity and cite bias when it doesn't go their own way. They love to use every legal system they can to claim that they're a victim of some kind of conspiracy themselves. It is tragic how our system does not deal with that kind of crap. I would love to see a version of the what's his name, Villet? Is that his name? Hang on, I'll go and get his name.
Milei, yeah, the one in Argentina.
Millet, sorry, yeah, Javier Millet. Yeah, I'd love to see a version of him because it's fucking hilarious in this country. But we get boring fuddy-duddies who abide antiquated political systems.
Well, the only reason why I say that there's a point where you guys don't do that, and my site for that would be Winston fucking Churchill, who, yeah, you guys were into a war situation, and then you voted him.
Yeah, the nearest we would have gotten to something like that would have been if Corbyn had won, and he was a career politician and a complete non-politician type as well, because he just didn't.
In the other direction.
Yeah, it would have been the other direction. In the UK with our system, I think the only way it would happen is if Keir Starmer wins next year and Jacob Rees-Mogg takes over after him, because Mogg is.
Do you think Mogg is strong enough?
He's got a strong enough character.
Okay.
But the Conservatives and Labour both have this similar problem where they are not unlike your more vocal Democrats.
I was going to say, well, careful now. We are not aligned in any way, shape, or form.
I was going to say, you're more vocal Democrats. The Conservatives argue with each other all the time because they're centre-right, far-right, and Labour are falling apart right now because of Gaza. They don't know how to deal with it. They really don't. And it's like, well, that's not surprising. Many of you abstained from voting. Yeah, you may have goofed there, folks, for your own political sake. Like, I don't think they were paying. They didn't think it through. I don't think they had a chance to, and I understand it. It's a mess. But unless something massive happens, unless something massive happens, we had an awesome statement that's supposedly meant to help us financially. Just to be clear here, it doesn't. So shut the fuck up. I read it. I might next year. My goal is to continue trying to grow on BitChute and Rumble. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start making political commentary over there instead of responses, because the responses do better on Omegon too. So I'm like, well, I like doing politics videos. I can't do them here because I do too many different types of streams. Fuck it, I'm going to make some short videos on the current goings on in politics, because this bullshit is pissing me off. Put it on BitChute because it'll do better there, and Rumble because fuck it. Yeah,
I agree.
It's a mess, and I need a laugh.
Well, we have hit a little over the hour mark.
Oh
now.
Shit, we have. Okay, thank you for that. Well, we were a bit late today. Sorry about that, folks. Trups and I weren't sure if this was happening. Sorry about that. Unless Trups isn't here next week, the show should be here next week. I'll be here next week, Trups.
I'll be here, yeah.
Sweet. It'll be after a premiere on my main channel, so even better. Thanks everyone for joining. Really appreciate it. This will be on Rumble and Spotify on Sunday because I'll be too busy tomorrow. Thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. And is there anything you'd like to say before we finish?
No.
Fair enough. Banana Hammock, say goodnight, Trups.